International organization Global Amnesty Watch has described the 2016 Amnesty International report alleging human rights abuse by the Nigerian military as biased and a ploy to compromise the capacity of the military to adequately tackle terror threats in Nigeria. President of the organization, Philip Agbese, said this at a media briefing in Abuja. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma was there.
Philip Agbese says Amnesty International's reliance on sensational media reports to make erroneous conclusions is an attempt to paint Nigeria black and give terrorists the leverage to continue killing innocent citizens.
It is unfortunate that rather than face the reality and point out the state actors that are exporting suffering across the world, Amnesty International is pursuing a sick obsession of defending killer groups.
The group urged Amnesty International to beam its searchlight on some developed countries where gun running and extrajudicial killings are the order of the day.
This entity has issued several reports that openly lie against Nigeria, its government and her citizens, and critical institutions, apparently with the sole intent of undermining us.
The Nigerian military was commended for its continued onslaught against fleeing Boko Haram terrorists. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
Now, the Nasarawa State Police Command has apprehended a criminal syndicate that specializes in distribution of counterfeit currencies across the country. State Commissioner of Police Abubakar Sadiq Bello said the suspects were arrested with over 8 million naira counterfeit currency. Aliyu Tijani Mohammed completes the story.
Other 60 suspects arrested include those who specializes in the production of fake documents such as NYSC discharge certificates, SSC result, ID card of various organizations, among other documents. This in addition to other suspects who were arrested and paraded for various crimes ranging from armed robbery, rape, culpable homicide, fraud and adoption. Items recovered include 8 AK-47 with over 150 live rounds of ammunition, 7 locally made pistols, over 8 million naira counterfeit currency, among other items. Commissioner of Police Abubakar Sadiq Bello attributed the success recorded to robust crime fighting strategies deployed by the State Command and the cooperation of the public.
The State Police Command has the will to face these challenges. However, we need the cooperation and support of all and sundry to achieve our goals of ensuring peace and security in the state.
On the rising cases of kidnapping in some parts of the state, the Commissioner of Police emphasized that the command has deployed special squad to flashpoints to contain the cases of kidnapping. Meanwhile, Nasarawa State Police Command has commended the state government for donating a new office complex to serve as the command headquarters in the state. The Commissioner of Police said the gesture will boost morale of officers and men of the command for improved service. In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
A warehouse loaded with over 2 million substandard tires has been sealed by the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON. The street value of the seizure is put at 2 billion naira. Amechi Pius reports that 2 Chinese nationals have been arrested in connection with the seizure.
I'm on a heap, real heap of tires. These are not brand new tires like they look. They are substandard tires brought in from China. These tires were stocked in to one another, making them very substandard and not safe for use anywhere in the world. It's an incredible seizure, the largest made by the Standards Organization of Nigeria in decades. The substandard tires were said to have been imported into Nigeria by sea from China. One disturbing feature on the tires, which come in different brands and sizes, is the date of manufacture. The tires have a production date of 0117, meaning that they were produced the first week of January 2017 in faraway China and arrived Nigeria 3 weeks ago.
It's dated first week of January 2017, and it came into Nigeria second week of February 2017. So there's no way we would have been able to manufacture these things, send them into Nigeria, clear them, and stock them before this date.
The Director General of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, Anthony Abuloma, told journalists that the 2 Chinese nationals arrested are providing the police with useful information to arrest other members of the group. He assured that none of the tires will be allowed into the markets, adding that the SON has begun a recovery process to take such brands away from the shelves wherever they are found.
We are now insisting that when you buy a tire, get a receipt.
Wow. Imagine if this number of tires are allowed into the market, what would happen? From Lagos, Amechi Pius, NTA News.
Thank you, Amechi. The Nigerian Television Authority has continued to receive more support and commitment from states and organizations to reposition the organization towards enhanced national development. The latest came from the Speaker, Bauchi State House of Assembly, Kawa Shehu Damina, when he met with the management of the NTA at the NTA corporate headquarters, Abuja. Adebola Brooksland Sunday has that report.
The Speaker, who was accompanied on the visit by some other lawmakers from Bauchi State, assured the Director General Yakubu Ebon Mohammed of their commitments to ensuring that all the 3 NTA stations in the state remain the gateway to the northeast of the country. The Director General of the NTA, who expressed delight with the visit, noted that the lawmakers' gesture will greatly contribute in ensuring the mass education of the people of the state.
In NTA, are poised, to join hands with state chief executives, state legislatures, and make sure that NTA presence in every state means a lot, not only to the people of the state, but to Nigerians in general.
My major agenda, 1, 2, 3, is our people, our people, our people. So that's why anything to do with the progression of our individual citizenry, the state at large, and even the nation, we'll do everything possible to see that we give it the best of attention.
The Director General, who has visited some state NTA stations, has also promised to visit all community stations to ensure quality and credible broadcasting. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
Stakeholders and supporters of the All Progressives Congress in their thousands staged a solidarity walk across the streets of Yola, the Adamawa State capital, under the aegis of Buhari Osibajo again. The event culminated in a prayer for President Muhammadu Buhari. Simon Asher reports.
The solidarity walk took off from Muhammadu Buhari campaign secretariat along Galadima Aminu Way to Gimba Road, Mohammed Mustafa Way, and terminated at the Adamawa State APC secretariat, where prayers were offered for the quick recovery of the president.
Muslims and Christians interceding for our president, pray for healing, pray for safety.
The Adamawa State Chairman Buhari Osibanjo again, Yahya Ahmed Julde, says the rally is an appreciation of the developmental changes witnessed in the country, especially the fight against insecurity and corruption. Hence the need to pray and support the president.
What prompted us to organize this rally is to pray for Mr. President for quick recovery and safe return back to Nigeria.
The senator representing Adamawa Central District in the National Assembly, Abdulaziz Mutala Inyako, who represented his father, former Governor Mutala Inyako, as guest speaker, commended the Buhari Osibanjo again for their patriotic commitment to nationhood.
Gombe State has joined other states in praying for President Muhammadu Buhari. Emmanuel Akila reports that the prayer session was at the instance of the Emir of Gombe, Alhaji Abubakar Shehu Abubakar III.
The prayer session was conducted and led by the Chief Imam of Lafia, Sheikh Atu Dahiru, and other notable Islamic clerics at the Lafia Central Eid Ground, which was filled to capacity by worshippers across the state. The Islamic clerics explained that the present health problem President Muhammadu Buhari is passing through was a test of faith, and advised Nigerians to know that no man is above Allah's will. He warned Nigerians to desist from making uncharitable remarks about the president's health. The session climaxed with supplications for the stability of the nation's democracy and prosperity of the country. In Lafia, I am Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Well, that was from Lafia, not Gombe, as earlier reported. The life of the first executive president of Nigeria, Alhaji Shehu Shagari, could better be described as life well spent, as the elder statesman clocked 92 years this Saturday. Abdullahi Garba Bininkudu has a tribute on the humble Nigerian former leader.
Alhaji Shehu Usman Aliyu Shagari is popularly known as Shagari, named after his village founded by his great-grandparents in Sokoto State, northwestern Nigeria. History of Nigeria will never be complete without Shagari for being the first executive president to rule Nigeria on the platform of National Party of Nigeria (NPN) from 1979 to 1983. Shagari, who rose from a classroom teacher to the highest office in the land, is a good example of courage and humility, showing that with determination and perseverance, the sky is the limit. This is a man who served in every federal administration and the House of Representatives before his retirement in active service after the 1996 military coup. Shagari, therefore, was a man of experience both in politics and the public service.
Unassuming. And of course, when he left the college, he became a teacher in Sokoto Middle School.
The skill with which Shagari handled the legislature must obviously have something to do with his own experience.
Till date, as one of the surviving Nigerian political statesmen with vast of experience, Shagari is one man many have fallen back to for advice, and his words command respect. At 92, many politicians look up to the likes of Shagari for guidance in matters of politics and national interest.
Whatever I'm doing, I look forward to that to be an example for others behind us.
Shagari is the Traki of Sokoto and still goes to his farm and his major hobby in life. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Bininkudu, NTA News.
One of the great leaders Nigeria has had. Now, the management of a University of Abuja has been urged to find a lasting solution to the challenges affecting its growth and development, which is to be a flagship university in Nigeria. Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, Professor Abubakar Adamu Rashid, said this when he represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the 21st convocation ceremony of the university. Abdullahi Musa Suleja has the report.
Convocation ceremonies are age-long academic tradition for the award of certificate by university graduate that students, parents, and authorities look up to annually. Sadly, over the years, University of Abuja could not realize this as a result of crisis occasioned by corruption, mismanagement, and high-handedness leveled against its past administrators. The NUC Executive Secretary said the university must realize its potential as set by the founding fathers.
It is time we allowed the University of Abuja to grow as a strategically positioned university in Nigeria.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Abuja, Professor Michael Adiku, said things are beginning to take shape in the institution.
The conduct of the convocation ceremony this year is a sign that our efforts to restore academic culture in the system is paying off.
Over 13,000 students graduated, including 552 postgraduate students. The occasion witnessed the conferment of honorary degrees to 3 distinguished personalities, including a foreigner and Sarkin Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
INEC says it would go ahead and announce winner of this Saturday's legislative rerun elections in Eche local government after the conclusion of the exercise. This is in spite of pockets of violence, snatching of voting materials, and low turnout that characterized the process. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
The election spread across 18 out of the 19 wards of Eche local government area is marred with violence, snatching of ballot boxes and low turnout of voters. So far, about 60 persons have been arrested, with some allegedly in possession of substances believed to be dynamite. INEC National Commissioner in charge of Rivers, Bayelsa and Edo State, May Abamuchembu, said Despite these challenges, the Commission would announce winners.
Unfortunately for us, and this has happened again and again, in Rivers State, violence has erupted in some polling units. Some of our staff have been kidnapped. Thankfully, they've been released. Some have been injured.
Acting Police Commissioner Ahmed Magaji said those arrested will be investigated and prosecuted. Coalition has already commenced at some of the polling unit levels. From Eche local government area, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
You are watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. You can watch this news live via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Critical observers have noted that Nigerian children of nursery and primary school ages of 11 years and below do not speak their mother tongues. Stakeholders say the Federal Ministry of Education should make teaching and learning of Nigerian languages compulsory in both government and private schools. This, they say, will ensure generational transfer of native languages, because when a language dies, humanity loses a lot of wealth of knowledge. For a closer look at the issue, stay with us on Weekend File and look at the phenomenon of disappearing Nigerian languages, the danger of extinction. We'll be right back.
This is a happy moment for me and for all Nigerians.
Amina Ali Nkeke, the first Chibok schoolgirl to be rescued in the renewed onslaught against the Boko Haram insurgency.
Amina's rescue gives us new hope.
Federal government has formally received the 21 abducted Chibok girls.
These dear daughters of ours have seen the worst that the world has to offer. It is now time for them to experience the best that the world can do for them. Government will sustain the effort until all the remaining girls return safely.
Hello? Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that list, starting now. Get to the door. Congratulations, you have passed the test.
Gioni M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge. Gioni M6, always in power.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth is in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
What makes a Niger mom powerful?
I encourage my kids to learn new things, and if they get hurt, I rely on the power of my Dettol's One Capful. To fight germs, it's like my own first aid kit.
My family needs protection from germs. I use the power of Dettol's One Capful to disinfect surfaces and clothes to keep them clean and safe from germs.
I trust the power of Dettol's One Capful for bathing. The power of Dettol's One Capful protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Millions of powerful Niger moms use the power of Dettol's One Capful to protect their families. Be a powerful Niger mom with Dettol. Be 100% sure.
Public announcement. Southeast South-South zonal hearings. The Presidential Committee on Constitution and Electoral Reform will hold a public hearing for the Southeast and South-South zones in Enugu and Calabar as follows. Enugu, date Monday 27th February 2017. Venue Nike Lake Resort Hotel, Abakpa, Nike, Enugu. Time 9 a.m. prompt. Calabar, date Wednesday 1st March 2017. Venue Channel View Hotel, MCC Road, Calabar. Time 9 a.m. prompt. Memoranda are expected from state governments, state assembly members, youth groups, women groups, political parties, professional bodies, civil society organizations, and academicians from states. For more information, contact the committee secretariat on 0809-550-2583, 0806-972-5453, 0803-611-1164, or you can send an email on circsecretariat@gmail.com. Sign Senator Ken Nnemani, GCON, Chairman, Dr. Mamman Lawan, Secretary.
The Future Assured project and its components Get Involved, initiated by the wife of the President, Her Excellency Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is not relenting in championing the cause of Nigerian women and children. Its provision of free medical screening, educational support, and the fight against malnutrition, especially in the Northeast, has indeed informed international recognition, partnerships, and awards.
We are very grateful and appreciative for your wonderful gesture you have accorded to us.
With Future Assured, Nigerian women and children are assured of a bright future.
Future is assured when we join hands to promote the health of our women and children. Get involved.
Get involved and support the Future Assured initiative. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
Following the approval of the whistleblowers policy by the Federal Executive Council and its launch by the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, patriotic Nigerians have been making inquiries on how and where they could deliver information that could lead to the stopping or uncovering of fraud to the appropriate authority and answers to frequently asked questions. The Federal Minister of Finance has therefore dedicated a telephone line for receiving SMS, a whistleblowers portal, and an email address through which members of the public who volunteer to disclose information about a possible misconduct or violation could deliver such information for the attention of the team dedicated to process such information.
Well, we thank you for staying with us up to this moment on Weekend File. Animals like dinosaurs, black rhinoceros, sea mink, and Samanian tiger, among many others, have gone extinct for lack of preservation measures, leaving behind only pictures and imaginations for the world to remember. This experience might be the fate of many languages in Nigeria if adequate measures are not put in place to preserve and promote them. Momso Damian Dati examines the significance of Nigerian languages and the danger of extinction.
Change may be do with more.
Good morning, and change means abunze faradani.
The mother tongue or first language constitutes an essential part of an ethnic community, as it is also a carrier of values and knowledge, most often used in the practice and transmission of intangible cultural heritage, especially in oral traditions and expressions. The first language is vital in acquiring skills that can be transferred to the second language. These a child learns without effort. Research according to UNESCO indicate that there are 7,000 living languages spoken globally, with Nigeria currently speaking more than 520 languages, as 10 are already gone extinct. The phenomenon is that many more Nigerian languages are in danger of extinction if not properly promoted and preserved. This is made evident in the eroding Nigerian languages that are gradually phasing out, with the younger generations lacking proficiency in their indigenous mother languages.
Change. It's something, but I've forgotten that begins with me. And I don't know.
Now, can we have nice?
Okay, I really not say things like good morning. I don't actually know.
The danger is that the country is heading towards monolingualism, with the domination of English language in all spheres of communication.
We are living in a time where everybody wants to be an Englishman. Every child wants to be an English child. It's a call for teachers, call for parents, relevant stakeholders to really see the need and the importance of our mother tongue.
Analysts are of the opinion that the sustenance of indigenous languages and their adoption for education will not only enhance sustainable development, but also add great value to formal and regular education.
Teaching these pupils in foreign languages is not only inimical to the growth and development of Nigeria technologically, but also a flagrant abuse and disobedience to the National Policy on Education 2014 edition.
If American people can come to Nigeria and train 10 local governments in Bauchi, 10 local governments in Sokoto now, in what we call Mukaranta, less rich, what is Nigerian government doing?
The Federal Ministry of Education says plans are underway to adopt language policies in schools.
Organizing capacity building, workshop for language teachers.
With modernization taking its toll on the traditional Nigerian society, there is a general concern that the much cherished cultural heritage and identity of the country may just become a forgotten history, especially for today's younger generation. In Abuja, Momsude Mendati, NTA Weekend File.
Thank you, Did Momso, for that background report. Now, the threats of extinction of mother languages could only be overcome if there is decisive efforts by government to enforce their usage as alternative official languages. These were the views of linguists in this report by Femi Afolabi.
Language, according to experts, is communication of sounds, words, grammar, or the system of communication used by people in a particular country or type of work. In Nigeria, findings reveal that there are 521 languages spoken, with at least 9 of them now extinct. These days, most parents and schools do not embrace mother tongues. Instead, the official language, English.
Mother tongues are just ways of describing our environment. When you have a language that comes from afar, there are important things in the local environment, in the culture, in the thinking of the environment that language cannot express.
Late President Nelson Mandela of South Africa, in one of his speeches, said, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. But talk to him in his language, that goes into his heart. How much can people speak their indigenous languages?
I'm from Ekiti State. I also understand Ibra language. I understand Igbo language also. Kedu Kodo, Oduma, Agunagumo, Anye Hininio, Elnanda Nibra Nini, Makwa Bounins.
Yeah, so not 100%, but at least 50%.
Yeah, I speak my language at home very well.
The annual celebration of Mother Language Day by the United Nations is to promote cultural diversity and commemorate language martyrs. In Ibadan, Femi Afolabi, NTA News.
And frequent use of mother tongue by native speakers and using it as a medium of instruction in schools play a significant role in protecting them from being endangered and subsequent extinction. From Sokoto State, Muhammad Nasir has a situation report.
Hausa language, being mother tongue for communities in Sokoto State, is being taught in all the public primary and secondary schools across the state. Currently, in all the 2011 public primary schools and 280 secondary schools, there are adequate Hausa teachers with enough textbooks to facilitate teaching of the language. In line with the national policy on education, at early child care and primary 1 level, pupils are taught in Hausa language before being introduced to the official language.
We're also promoting drama and Tales by Moonlight and
quiz competitions in Hausa, and also in taking students on excursion to historical artifacts of the Hausa kingdom and what other items that they can see to appreciate the value of the language and the language of the community, and to continue to practice the language so that the language will continue to survive.
Similarly, at the tertiary institutions, Hausa language is taught as a course of study to prepare Hausa teachers to promote use of language among communities. According to linguists, in a multilingual society like Nigeria, languages are in competition and some languages dominate others, especially if they are not supported.
During colonial times, here in Sokoto and other places in the north, Hausa was used as a medium of instruction. So if you had to teach arithmetic, you had to teach it in Hausa. If you had to teach hygiene, you had to teach it in Hausa, using Hausa as a medium of instruction, in addition to teaching Hausa as a language.
In Sokoto State, the professor says support to Hausa language should go beyond teaching it as a subject to protect it from being endangered and subsequent death. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasser reporting for NTA Weekend File.
And language represents an integral part of the nation's identity and cultural heritage. It is perhaps in recognition of this that respondents from the Southeast zone hold parents responsible for the decline in speaking of Igbo language by the younger generation. Chimobi Walter Naji reports.
Spoken by about 25 million people, Igbo is the principal native language of southeastern people of Nigeria, with more than 20 different dialects. In Enugu State, for instance, it's been observed that most parents do not speak their mother tongue to their children. Rather, they prefer to speak English language, which they believe is in vogue. Without parents speaking their native tongue to their children at home, learning the mother tongue at school may be a bit difficult.
We'll have debates on Igbo language, drama, quizzes, and all the cultural activities. Igbo language is a pivot where a child can grow very well, develop well, talent-wise.
From Abakaliki, Nneka Oku reports that the speaking of vernacular in most primary and secondary schools is viewed as a punishable offense, resulting in many Nigerian children, especially in urban centers, being able to speak only the English language.
The country, for instance, have a national policy on education, and part of the policies contained there is that the children at the primary level and the junior secondary level should be taught with the language of their immediate environment. But we discover that these policies are never implemented.
Some school children acknowledge that though the language is taught in schools, speaking it with their peers is a bit unfashionable.
Not very well, but I can speak it. They used to teach us Igbo like Asusu.
Although some parents claim to speak the indigenous language to their children and words, it is, however, worrisome that the preference of English language has continued unabated. In Enugu, Chimobi Walter Naji, NTA News.
All right, and up ahead will be the discussion segment, and we're going to host Dr. Tunde Adebola of the African Language Technology Center, who will be reaching us all the way from our network center in Ibadan, and that will be after the break. Coca-Cola?
Oh, it's happy hour. So, you've won a free Coca-Cola, but you have to drink it here.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Tries to light the fires, he has done too. Emenike on a winging!
Africa's largest television network, the NTA, sets the agenda for Nigeria sports with a new program, The Sports Parliament, a weekly night of conversation by experts on some of the most critical issues in Nigeria sport, examined through national and international lenses. Sports Parliament is an assembly of some of the best brains in sports, taking on issues as never before. Members of Parliament include Osasu Obayuwana, lawyer and journalist, Mumini Alao, analyst, Godwin Dudu Orumen, lawyer and administrator, Nkechi Obi, marketer and analyst, Kunle Raji, consultant, Adetunji Adeyinka, private sector expert, Anyefiok Udo Obong, Olympic gold medalist, Shola Akinwale, former international player, Abdurrahman Ibu Mohammed, journalist and sports commentator, Tanko Yunusa Abdullahi, journalist, Aki Amawo, medical consultant, the speaker, former international player, author, sports writer and consultant, Shegu Odewami, live from the NTA studios in Lagos every Thursday night from 11 o'clock. The Sports Parliament, taking the conversation on sports to a new level, coming soon to your screens.
Played out wide by Babatunde. Two in the middle. Oh, they've got an equaliser!
All right, you're welcome back to Weekend File. Joining us now from NTA Network Studios in Ibadan is Dr. Tunde Adebola, the founder and chief executive officer of the African Languages Technology Center in Ibadan. Good evening, Dr. Adebola, and welcome to the program. Hello once again. Good evening, Dr. Adebola. Hope you can hear me clearly from Ibadan.
Yes. Good evening. I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Let me begin by asking you your own perspectives on the issue of disappearing Nigerian languages as a man who is in charge of language technology here in Nigeria.
Well, thank you very much. I find it quite interesting that you made a correlation between endangerment of the environment and language endangerment. The fact is that language is like the software of the hardware called the environment, because it is through language that the environment, the material fauna and flora of the environment become useful. Names by which we refer to animals, names which are largely descriptive of their qualities and descriptive of their other characteristics, that we are able to use these materials. And so, language endangerment should be addressed with exactly the same vigor as endangerment of the environment. Language is a system by which people represent the realities around them, and it also represents the identity of a people. So the endangerment of language is something that the whole world should look at critically, and that is the reason why the UNESCO set February 21st as the International Day of International Mother Language Day. Because the extinction of language means the extinction of the knowledge of a people, means the compromise in the livelihoods of a people, apart from the emotional and the emotional attitude we have towards the loss of language, we say, which is about our culture, that we shouldn't lose our culture and all that. Important that is, loss of language also represents loss of livelihoods of the people, because it is through these languages that people negotiate their livelihoods.
All right. Can you please identify environmental factors and practices, that will help in reversing the trend?
Well, the first thing that will reverse language endangerment is that language should be used. A living language is a language that is used. To allow a language to extinct, to get a language put a language in the state of extinction, all you need is to find some ways of preventing parents from speaking the language to the children. And if that can be effectively done, within one generation, that language will be extinct. But there are certain social factors that promote or impede the use of language by parents to children. Prestige, the fact that a foreign language is the language of education, the fact that a foreign language is the language of officialdom, the fact that the foreign language is the language of administration, and they represent languages of opportunities. So once we have that kind of situation, people will want to give their children these opportunities and will therefore try not to speak their languages to their children, but to speak these languages of opportunities, these languages of advantage to their children. So in order to arrest the endangerment of language, one, we should encourage the use of this language by parents to children, and more importantly, as incentives, it should be there should be policies around local languages, and these policies should be very, very much, there should be legislation and regulation around these policies, because policy without legislation and regulation is just a set of wishes. So, and also, one of the critical factors of endangerment today is communication technology.
Well, now you've talked about legislation. Now it's very important. From one of the reports we watched earlier on, we heard that in a particular school in Ebonyi State, that it is a punishable offense to speak vernacular in the classroom. And of course, UNEXA says that on competency level of native speakers, Nigerian children within the nursery and primary school ages of 11 and below cannot speak their mother tongues. Now, how deep has this really eaten into the fabrics of our society with respect to possible extinction of some of these languages?
It's a really, really big problem. And all this comes from, incidentally, all this attitude towards referring to our local languages as vernacular that should not be spoken in school actually started it became much vigorous after independence, because a lot of the colonial education system did put a lot of emphasis on local languages. But now, because, like I said earlier on, because language gives opportunities, and English language in Nigeria has been presented as the language of opportunity, despite the fact that it is actually, for many people, inability to speak English language is really an impediment. But this quest to become English, to speak English, to do everything in English has become so much with us that it's now beginning to affect the local languages. The policy in schools that say that children should not speak vernacular actually is a misnomer, because like one of the reports you just had said, the national policy on education stipulates that that children should be taught in the local languages in the first few years of their lives. But somehow, this is a manifestation of this is another manifestation of the fact that as a people, we don't really trust government. Because if we trust government and government makes a policy, everybody will take on the policy. But because the fee-paying nursery schools, the fee-paying primary schools feel that they can do whatever they like, and they, for that reason, think that they can give their own children a head start by teaching them in English and giving them access to English. But unfortunately, all these children that have been taught in English, they've been given everything in English, they've gone through university and they're coming out without jobs.
No question for you, please, in less than a minute, if you can do that. There is dearth of teachers in degrees, with degrees that will actually help in, teaching our children these languages. But we don't seem to have enough graduate teachers in these languages that can do that. And also people talk about the educated elites who move from one urban center to the other. They're supposed to be the custodians of their own heritage. Instead, they're now aliens to the language, or of course aliens to the also culture and religion. On a final note, what can be done to reverse the trend?
It is important for us to deploy our brightest and our best to the things that affect us most. One of the issues that we have in the universities today is that people do not want to study the local languages for this same reason. So we need to put incentives, give scholarships to people who are studying local languages, give other incentives to people who are studying local languages, give prizes to people who are doing well in local languages, because I can promise you we are going nowhere with these foreign languages that we are using all over Africa, because we have all missed out on the Industrial Revolution, particularly because we have not been using our languages.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Adebola. Dr. Tunde Adebola is the founder and Chief Executive Officer of the African Languages Technology Center in Ibadan. It's been nice talking to you tonight, all the way from our Ibadan Network Center. You are still watching Weekend Files. Sports and weather prospects for tomorrow will be next after these messages.
Do you crave class? Do you have taste? And do you care about comfort? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com. You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956. Jade's Hotels. Welcome to life.
The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people scams. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
National Junior Tennis Championship ends in Lagos with winners emerging in different categories as National Open Boxing Championship ends Saturday. Plus, first closed circuit death track car race to hold in Nigeria. For details of these and more on Sports Update, over now to Adiola Omokibi. Quick check on weather prospects for tomorrow. All right, this is how we concluded tonight's edition of the program. And before we go, a reminder that you can get all our stories